Hello everybody, I think this is my first video on the new channel here, posting about Pokemon TCG. One of my goals for the future is to get a Worlds invite, whether 2026 or 2027. Hopefully in the next couple of years in my future I'll be able to make it to my first Worlds. Today I played at my first League Challenge of the season. It was at a place called Legacy Games in Rosemount, Minnesota, and I brought Eevee Box. I was expecting a lot of Gardevoir. It's usually a lot of Gardevoir and Dragapult. So I played the Tech Gravity Mountain that I was seeing in a lot of lists from NAIC, also the Cyrano, so when I'm item locked I can still find my Latias and even my Eeveelutions without needing to Terra Orb or Ultra Ball. And yeah, Leafeon was here to fix Grimmsnarl math, which did actually help me out. I did face a Grimmsnarl, but I'll get into that later. There were 12 Masters at this League Cup, I think 15 or 16 total people. There were 3 or 4 juniors and seniors. And I went 3-1. I took fourth place at this league challenge. First place and second place went 301. It went to opponent's win percentage. Between me and third place, they also went 3-1-0. And this was the list I brought. I'll get into my matchups. My game 1, I paired into a Raging Bolt without Noctowls. It was a list inspired from the Japan Championships, the winning list. It was actually one of my good friends. And we started off the game. I went first. I start Hoot Hoot on board, Buddy Poffin in hand, and some energies in an Area 0. He decides to go second after he wins the coin flip. I do my whole thing. I fan call. I set up my whole board. I don't think I misplayed it all there. And I leave the Rotom in the active and attach to one of my benched Eevees. I pass it off to him. And instantly, just as Raging Bolt does in Raging Bolt fashion, he goes for a Donk. Not really a Donk, I have my bench filled up, but he kills my Fan Rotom, and since he took one prize on it, we're each going 2-2-2, it doesn't affect the matchup that much. I go into my Eevee, draw for turn. I find a, what was it? It wasn't Cyrano. I found a Nest Ball off my top deck and grabbed Latias off of it, and then put my Flareon on board and Noctowled for another Nest Ball and Crispin. I laid down my Area 0 in my hand, and I set up Clefairy, and from there the match was really mine, because our games went 2-2-2. I set up the Clefairy with Crispin, giving it a Psychic and Grass. I went for the knockout on his Raging Bolt. He sets up another one in his next turn, gets his own Latias down so he can retreat into it, dumps an energy off one of his Ogerpon, and 2 energy off his Raging Bolt for the knockout. I promote my Flareon. I used my Pheasantipity after searching it out to get into my Crystal, and since he was at 3 prizes the one time it does matter, I counter captured into one of his benched Ogerpon, laid back down my Clefairy, and Burning Charge to set it up, taking out the Ogerpon and setting up my Clefairy for next game. This, I basically have check on board, because with the Raging Bolt he has, he either goes after my Clefairy, and I go after the knockout on the Raging Bolt using Carnelian with Flareon, or he dumps all of his energy into the Flareon, and I bring up Clefairy for game next turn. So we scoop it up, I win game 1. And my game 2 is really interesting. I hit a control deck. Not even a control deck, it was like more of a trolley deck. He was playing the Dreadnought, I think from Stellar Crown. It says that this Pokemon does not take damage from attacks that deal more than 200 damage. But I never saw that Pokemon. He started 2 Mimikyu on board. I went first, started Fan Rotom again, got my whole setup going. I think he knew I was going to go for Sylveon, because on his turn 1 he instantly puts a Mist Energy onto his bench Mimikyu for turn, and attaches Hero's Cape to his Mimikyu. He had 2 on his bench, he had a Choodle in his active, he started Choodle. And then Crispin's 1 energy onto each of the Mimikyus. He passes. The next 2 turns, not much happens. I develop my board. I get the Sylveon into play. I get an energy and a crystal on it. And then I Fan Rotom attack into his Choodle after laying down an Area 0. And he basically draws. Crispins again to both Mimikyus, puts a Mist Energy on the second one, and passes again. next turn goes, I basically draw, attack into the Choodle, and pass. And this is where it kind of got weird, because every time I would attack into one of his Mimikyu with Fanrotom, he would Ghost Eye it. And I looped my 2 Fanrotom. I went Fanrotom, 70 into his Mimikyu with not Hero's Cape, Luxurious Cape on it. He Ghost Eye knocks out the Fanrotom. I bring up a second one, use the attack again. He Ghost Eyes again. I set up a third Fanrotom, and at this point I also set up a Flareon on my bench and give it a Sparkling Crystal, or not my Sparkling Crystal, I gave it a Fire Energy because my Crystal was on Sylveon. And in the next turn, he lays down Monkey Dory, and in that he takes damage counters off his Mimikyu, puts him on one of my Noctowls on my bench that I used to set up, puts the 70 into Mimikyu. I bring up Noctowl this time. I Crispin 2 energy onto it, and I knock out his Mimikyu for 2 prize cards. He brings up the next Mimikyu, and basically draws and Ghost Eyes it again. This didn't go too well for me. He's at 2 prize cards now. All I can do in my hand is promote my Flareon. I countercatcher his Monkey Dory, attach Water Energy to my Flareon for turn, and Briar Burning Charges Monkey Dory for 2 prize cards. And I draw into Boss and another energy. Over the next few turns, he sits behind that Mimikyu again, and constantly lays down a Monkey Dory, gives it a Dark Energy, and Turos it every turn, and then recycles the Turos. And it gets to a point where I think he's run out of them, and I have the game in hand. I have the boss, I have energy. I just can't kill this Mimikyu that he keeps leaving in his active, because all my board is Flareon, Sylveon, Mew, Fez, and Latias. And right as before I'm about to take game, he leaves his Monkey Dory down. But because of the damage counters he had already had on his Mimikyu from my first Fanrotom, because I had been like chugging between them, he monkeys 30 off of it onto my Sylveon, traps it in the active, and starts Ghost Eyeing it over and over. I can't retreat it. I only have 1 energy on it and Sparkling Crystal. I'm out of energy in my deck. They're spread thin across my board. My last prize card is my Night Stretcher. I've used my Super Rod, my Night Stretcher, my first one, to recycle the Fanrotoms and energies before that. I'm out of options. I pass, and over the next 2 turns, he just Monkey Dory, Ghost Eye, Monkey Dory, Ghost Eye until my Sylveon dies. It was a very unfortunate game too, but it's what happens. I wasn't very prepared for the matchup. I think my only misplay was like not hesitating to use my 1 Night Stretcher, because I did know my other one was prize. I had a notepad with me. I took notes, but it's whatever. That dude ended up winning the tournament. Going into my game 3, I hit another Raging Bolt. It was a Raging Bolt with Iono's Belly Bolt. This is a real interesting one. And I win the coin flip. I go first. They start Squawkabilly. I start my Fanrotom again with Buddy Poffin in hand. I basically get out like 1 Eevee, my Eevee EX with the Terra Orb, 3 Hoot Hoots, 2 Noctowls, and pass. They attach to the Squawkabilly, discard I think 2 of their 3 fighting and just a bunch of their lightning. They get down a Raging Bolt, a Watch Roll, and I think another Raging Bolt. They pass. I start up my next turn. I top decked into an energy from my Fanrotom. So I instantly Noctowl, and I just go Boss, Area 0. I lay down my Area 0. I boss up their Watch Roll, and I kill it. I take 1 prize. I knock it out with Assault Landing on the Rotom. Rotom was putting in some numbers for me in most of these matchups today. Love this guy. Next turn, this person brings up the Raging Bolt. It has no energy on it. Draws for turn. Not Buddy Poffin, Nest Balls for 1 Tadbulb. Attaches a Fighting Energy to Raging Bolt. Ultra Balls the last 2 cards in their hand for the Iono's Belly Bolt and passes. There was no disruption to me. I played down another Noctowl, grabbed my second boss, and targeted the Tadbulb. I know the only card in their hand is Belly Bolt. I Assault Landing for the knockout again. They draw. It was the Lightning Energy for the Raging Bolt, surprisingly. They just attach to the Raging Bolt and use 1 energy to kill my Fan Rotom. On my next turn, I bring up the Eevee EX. I draw for turn. I had Nest Ball for Pheasantipity. I draw into my Clefairy, and I had a Crispin in hand. And what ends up happening is I just lay down the Clefairy. I Crispin for Psychic and Grass the usual. I also had my Latias down. I'm not the best at remembering these things. But I had my Latias down because I free retreated into my Clefairy, kill the Raging Bolt. They have nothing on their board but a Swakabilly. No cards in their hand. They draw for turn. Pass. That's game 3 for me. I'm 2-1. Feeling good about this tournament. I think I still have a chance at making top 2 for championship points. I did not because the last game between the control player was a Joltik box, and they tied at each 1 prize card in overtime. My game 4 was a Grimmsnarl, and this is a matchup I've been practicing a lot because I need to know like when it's right to Leafeon. We start the game. I go first, they go second. I started my Terapagos. This is like the one time I've ever had to use him in a tournament. I basically Nest Ball for Fan Rotom, get out Hoot Hoot, Eevee, Noctowl, attach a water energy to Terapagos, lay down an Area 0, and pass. This person, Buddy Poffins, they started a Munkidori for Budu and Impidimp. They attach retreat the Munkidori, bring up the Budu, item lock me, that's it. I draw, and I took a really big risk here. I Noctowled for my Sparkling Crystal and a boss, went straight to attach the Crystal to Terapagos, just freeballed it, bossed up their 1 Impidimp, and killed it. And this was amazing. They bring up Budu again, they item lock me again. All I do is draw for turn and call Unified Beatdown. They bring up the Munkidori, they draw for turn, lay down an Impidimp, attach a rescue board to Munkidori, retreat, attach to Impidimp, and use Filch to draw a card. I draw for turn, Unified Beatdown. They bring up Munkidori, draw for turn. They found Secret Box. They grab like Spikemuth, Nest Ball, Prof. Unfortunate thing is though, they play down everything, they get another Impidimp in play, but the Prof, from what they have left in hand, is Frostlass and Double Grimmsnarl. They draw into a Rare Candy, a Snorunt, and a bunch of nothing cards. They lay down the Snorunt. They go, I'm in top deck mode because I play a 3rd Grimmsnarl. I need to find an out to my discard pile or something else. I draw into my 2nd boss, bring up one of the 2 Impidimps. United Beatdown again. They bring up the Munkidori again. Or not the Munkidori, the Snorunt. They draw for turn. Pass. And this is how the entire game went. I basically went 6 turns in a row. I called Unified Beatdown and just killed their Pokemon. It went 6 turns, 6 prizes, because Unified Beatdown hit every time. It was really unfortunate, but it was a juniors player on Grimmsnarl, and they were 3-1 from my loss, so they won their age group going 4-0, although I think 2nd place in their age group was 1-3. And yeah, I went 3-1. That control game almost went into time. The rest of my games were pretty much 3 or 4 turn washes, aside from like Terapagos as well. But yeah, I'm really liking this deck. I started playing TCG Live again a couple days ago, just as a thing to do like when I'm doing my cardio in the gym while I'm trying to do my cardio before or after I lift. And in the past 3 or 4 days, like playing a match or 2 in my off time and doing my cardio, I am in Eternatus League from Quickball League, and I've played only this deck. I'm really liking it. This is one of my favorite 60 card lists of this year. I think I'll stick to it for a while until at least like Mega Evolutions comes out, or when Black Bolt White Flare comes out this Friday. This was recorded on the Sunday before it. Is July 13th. There may be some Miraidon content soon with the new Dynamotor Electrics. I know they're not new, they're from the black and white set. I think I have some old copies of it. I'll see if I'm allowed to play them or not, because they're an exact 1-to-1 reprint. But yeah, that deck's looking really fun. It's looking really promising. I loved Flaffy Dynamotor Miraidon, and hopefully that deck is as good as it used to be. Hopefully it's not a shadow of its former self. I know Raiku's gone. Tapu Koko doesn't really make up for the exchange. But yeah, if I brew up something from a Rhydon and I get to play it to a league, I'll post about that. I'll try to take better notes about my matchups. And then I also might play Gardevoir Jellicent soon if I can find the cards from Black Volt White Flare. But yeah, loving the Gravity Mountain inclusion. I was expecting to hit Guardies, but whenever I hit them on TCG Live, I usually can get like Gravity Mountain into Flareon to end a game. One time in a online tournament, I Gravity Mountained into a Carnelian with Briar to win a game, and then I lost the next few games after that, dropped the tournament. It was not pretty, but we ball. But yeah, I think this might be one of the most underrated decks in the meta. I think if I really like play to my outs right and I keep playing the deck to the point where I can like make a masterclass of it, I would have an answer to most every meta deck, like top 5 to top 10. Yeah, I'll do a full deck profile probably later when I get the time, and I'll try and play this deck as much as I can to my local leagues. It'll be fun. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace.